Good morning, rise and shine. Blazed up back on the wagon of the World Test Championship we go. So get ready for India taking on South Africa, an Indian team that is looking to perhaps get its first major test in home conditions. With due respect to the West Indies, Shubman Gill is moving from continents and formats, and up against him, the World Test champion captain himself, who's back in action in Temba Bavuma. This series should be fun. Test cricket usually is fun, so it's a very warm welcome as we return for Bajaj Finserv Mutual Fund presents ESPNcricinfo Matchday, and on Children's Day, the fatherly figure of Sanjay Bangar with me. Good morning, sir. How are
Good
you
morning,
today?
good morning. Good to be up on a wintry morning.
Yeah, we love Test cricket at home, no? Especially in the East. It's got a nice little vibe. The Eden Gardens is an iconic venue. First Test in 6 years. South Africa back after 6 years. There's a charm to Test cricket in Kolkata, especially.
There is, and a wonderful part of the country to play Test cricket in because you do get that early morning help for the seamers, testing times for the batters in the first half, and then as the game progresses, this is a fantastic pitch to bat on, and the outfield certainly helps the batters.
Okay, the former batting coach says he'll enjoy batting on this. Now, we are saying early morning over here. In the East, it's even earlier. Sun's been up for some time. Sun's not even come up where Vernon Philander is right now. But what a pleasure to have the former South Africa fast bowler with us. Good morning to you, Vernon.
Good morning, gentlemen. Yeah, I'm very excited about this series coming up. I think for a number of reasons. Obviously, a dominant South African team over the last sort of 24 months, and a young Indian team up against it, obviously on home soil. So, yeah, looking forward to the contest, man.
Absolutely, and we look forward to your company right through this series. And it started well for Temba Bavuma. He's won the toss. He's batting first. I say started well because I think South Africa hadn't won a toss here in 7 tosses or something like that. Shubman Gill's toss record is also awful, but Temba Bavuma's back. And I'll get your reaction first up, Vernon, on the decision to bat first and what Temba described as a dry surface or looks a little on the drier side, and the big news of no Kagiso Rabada.
Yeah, I think first of all, it's a massive loss for South Africa. I think you talk about Kagiso Rabada, we talk about the leader of that bowling attack, we talk about the guy that obviously, the captain goes to when, tactics are being discussed, let alone, the seam bowling. I think he's also a wonderful inspiration and leader when it comes to, getting those spinners together and formalizing plans. So a massive loss for South Africa, obviously, on the brink of this first test match. But I think, yeah, you mentioned, winning a toss in the subcontinent is of paramount importance. I think batting first, getting runs on the board, you get yourself into the contest that way. I think I've been there on 2 tours. we haven't won many tosses, and you're always, obviously up against it. So I think first thing's gone right for South Africa winning that toss. But now the important bit starts. I think the first innings is so important. You need to get runs on the board, to really make sure that you put obviously a lot of pressure on India.
Sanjay, your thoughts on what South Africa miss in Kagiso Rabada?
I think reverse swing factor, because you would obviously want somebody to use the new ball, which all the South African fast bowlers are capable of. But if you have to use the reverse swing, which is going to come into the play as the game progresses because of the nature of the surface, I think that's where Kagiso Rabada would be missed. But apart from that, batting first is a huge advantage for South Africa.
All right. Well, a rib injury keeps Kagiso Rabada out of action in this first test, so that's big news from the South African camp. What about big news from the Indian camp? Who will predict an India 11 and what surprises they tend to show us? 4 spinners play with Washington Sundar designated at number 3 on the team sheet. Kuldeep's there, Akshar is there as well, and that is in addition to Ravindra Jadeja. Dhruv Jurel plays along with Rishabh Pant, who returns to the test side, and 4 spinners with Washi at 3, no Sai Sudarshan. Mr. Bangar, please take it away.
Yeah, I mean, continues to surprise the team selection, and I'm a little bit disappointed that Sai Sudarshan is not being picked to play for this particular test match, because all the hard work that the selectors would have put in picking him up, looking to groom him, and suddenly you find here that in home conditions at a pitch like Kolkata, you are depriving somebody like Sai Sudarshan an opportunity to play and make a strong case for himself. So a little bit surprised and disappointed that Sai Sudarshan not part of this setup.
So you would have had Sai in this team with a spinner light or Sai in this team with a batter light?
A spinner light, because 4 spinners, 4 spin options is far too many, and you could have understood that if they were only playing with one seamer and four spinners, but there you have two out and out fast bowlers as well. So I would have gone with three spinners and two fast bowlers.
Now, Vernon, let me get your reaction. I'm sure South Africa are looking at this Indian team sheet now, and Shuki Conrad is perhaps making his own notes. Yesterday, when you did the preview on our platform with my dear friend Yash Jha, you were almost chuckling when you said, I hope it's a good batting surface. I hope it plays the way you say. And then you see four spinners on India's team sheet and Temba Bavuma say at the toss, yeah, it looks a bit on the drier side. What does that mean, Vernon?
Yeah, I think I'm not surprised. Look, I think you're always going to favour home conditions. You're going to make sure that you give yourself the best opportunity of winning. So I'm not surprised at all. I think having toured India on numerous occasions, and especially in the last two tours that we've been there, we were really up against it. Obviously in tough conditions, but that's the home team. Preparing wickets to suit obviously their nature and their style of play. So yeah, no surprise to me. I think we always knew it was going to be a couple of turners coming our way. But I think just the way the South African team has adapted over the last sort of 24 months, I think they've gone to Bangladesh, they've won in Bangladesh, with tough conditions. They've just been to Pakistan, they managed to win a test match in Pakistan, in really tough conditions. So I think from a preparation point of view, they really have done, obviously all the prep that they can possibly do, to face up to obviously, such a strong Indian team in home conditions. So again, like I said, we always knew it was going to turn, but I think, having won the toss, do give yourself a massive advantage.
All right, I'm going to get more into what we can expect from this surface here, right? Because we know what the curator has said, we know what both captains have said. Shubman Gill said it'll play well for the first 2 days and maybe turn on day 3 or so, but we'll find out soon enough. Let's just confirm the South Africa 11 for everyone's convenience. No Kagiso Rabada because of a rib injury. Temba Bavuma takes his place again, missing the series in Pakistan, but the captain of the World Test Championship side. So Devil Brevis will make way. And as we look at the rest of that team, now Wayne Mulder plays. In addition to Corbin Bosch, there is Simon Harmer along with Janssen and Maharaj. So no Muthuswamy. Give me your reaction to that team, Vernon, if any surprises that scream out.
Yeah, I think the one surprise really for me is Muthuswamy. I think the way he's established himself at international level, I think he's made a strong case for himself against Pakistan, and I think he gives you that wonderful balance. Yeah, we talk about 2 all-rounders now, or 3 all-rounders obviously with Marco Jansen, Wayne Mulder as well as Corbin Bosch. But for me, when you play in the subcontinent, you probably want to have a spinning all-rounder, and I think he's done a wonderful job. I think he picks up wickets. He has that neck, on the domestic front as well. But for me, the key part is that he forms those lower order partnerships, and I do feel that could be the make or break for South Africa.
So they've gone a spinner light. They had the chance to play Muthuswamy and they've decided to go to seamer. What do we make of that?
I think it's a good selection because you have somebody like Janssen bowling from left arm over the wicket, and you obviously want that off spinner to be part of your setup, wherein a lot of Indian batters, there are left-handers in the mix as well. In fact, 4 left-handers now or 5 left-handers. So having an off spinner means that 5 left-handers, that the off spinner will have to bowl quite a bit. And Keshav Maharaj, you don't want to deprive him bowling opportunities if you have another left arm spinner there. So I'm pretty happy with the combination that South Africa have gone in.
Now, I'm sure with Vernon's comments and a lot of the South African fans and viewers watching this would, by virtue of what the Indian team is and what the captains have said, think, are we going to see the sharp turners or the rank turners, which we thought this team has committed to not necessarily go for. They want their batters also to get runs. The more conventional Indian pitches is what we thought. Is that what you think we'll get at the Eden Gardens? We haven't seen Test cricket here for 6 years.
Yeah, I do think, because the curator there doesn't generally bow down to the pressure of whatever the team management or the visiting management in terms of IPL or even home management in terms of the international cricket. So he generally prepares fair pitches, and I would think that that is the kind of surface that we are going to see.
Vernon, you've heard Sanjay's response, right? Fair wicket. That's what we're expecting. You noted that, right?
Yeah, look, I think for me, I'll just love to see, all facets of the game come into play. I think you don't want a match where, spin, dominate the whole test match. I think, like you guys have mentioned, the element of reverse swing, if that can come into play for the seamers, at least there's something to work with for the seamers. But again, everybody's talking about a dry surface. I think yeah, spin will play a massive part in this fixture. But like I say, hopefully the new ball, there will be something in the new ball for the seamers. And then, of course, a bit later on, with the diverse swinging ball. So, yeah, hopefully all those elements can come into play.
Okay, we're going to wait. We're going to wait till we watch some action and see how things go. When the first ball is bowled by a spinner, of which India have 4 now that they're bowling first. I just want to spend a few more minutes on this Washington Sundar selection at number 3. If he is indeed going to bat at number 3. And this is not an easy or a conventional call to make. If you're bringing an extra spinner, usually it's the middle order spinners. We're hearing that he's going to be batting at number 3 over here. And I wonder how you'd imagine this decision would have been arrived at by Gill and Gambhir.
I mean, you obviously have a method to make your message across to the player as a management. For you, it makes a lot of sense, whatever the team management is thinking. But I'm thinking from a player point of view, wherein somebody like a Sai Sudarshan, batting at 3, he got a 90 odd in the previous test series that we played a couple of important innings in England as well. So here you're looking to build a batting lineup, and that is where Indian team hasn't really found the right slots, or are in the process of discovering how the team will stack up in absence of maybe a Pujara, or when things have you moved on from Virat Kohli after his retirement. So that middle order slot is going to be critical for India in the overseas test matches as well. So that is why I feel somebody like a Sai Sudarshan, if he had gotten more opportunities at home, that would have helped his cause when he goes out and plays overseas test matches.
What does this do for Washington Sundar though? Is this more like just for this test match kind of thing because you want to play all your spinners? Could this possibly be looked at as, right, we might be looking at you as a top order player in the medium to long term? And what kind of pressure does this put on Washington Sundar, whose own batting form is improved and now he's being asked to bat at 3?
Whether he bats at 3, we are not so sure,
Okay,
because
sure,
even
enough.
Dhruv Jurel can slot in at 3. That will mean a number of spin bowling all-rounders. And India has brilliant luxury of those spin bowling all-rounders. So for me, I would certainly have played Washington Sundar, whatever number he bats. But it is surprising that Akshar Patel and Ravindra Jadeja and Washington Sundar playing in the same 11. That is a bit of a surprise for me.
All right, time will tell. That's the beauty of it. We'll have so many opportunities to keep revisiting India's tactics and their choices. For now, they're going to be bowling first, and they're going to come up against a South Africa side that are looking to create history. And Vernon, from the comments I picked up of yours in our preview, there's an optimism. Yes, they are the World Test champions, but there's an optimism that this team has perhaps more or has enough to perhaps not just finish a streak that's lasted for a while now since they last won a test here, but it takes us 25 years since South Africa won a test on Indian soil, and you feel like their chances are actually quite good this time.
Yeah, I think massive. I think I'm a massive believer of momentum, and I think the way this team has united over the last sort of 24 months. Yeah, I mean, you look at teams generally, and you look at this particular South African team. There's no real superstars for me, and I think that really speaks volumes in the way that they've gone and won tough, really tough series, away from home in order to qualify for the World Test Championship. So I do feel right now, and also under the management of Supri Conrad, as well Prince, former international cricketer, I think the standards that they've laid for this team, is really right up there with some of the very best teams in the world at the moment. And the one thing that really that I have to highlight is the ability to adjust. Now I think South Africa has always had that wonderful ability, to adjust to foreign conditions. I think of the team of 2008, that were unbeaten away from home, and I think that was a phenomenal record to have. But I think this team, in terms of that ability to adapt to certain conditions, I think they obviously put the ego aside, so they'll know what they're up against in terms of the surface, and I think they do play conditions very well. So that's probably the one thing that I have to highlight about this particular team heading into this contest.
Yes, we look at South Africa's track record in India. It's been a long time since not only have they won a series, but even a test match for that matter. You go back to Nagpur 2010, a game for all time with the way Dale Steyn bowled, and reverse swing is something Sanjay Bangar brought up. We could see at the Eden Gardens, but we go to 2000 under the late Hansi Cronje for the last time that South Africa registered a series win in India. To be fair, nobody registered series wins in India from 2012 to 2024. That streak ended late last year when New Zealand shocked the strong Indian side. Just to pick up on Vernon's point there, this is the champion side, Sanjay, and in a way, what is it that India need to look out for? Does the South Africa team possess the skills? Have they come with the skills or the personnel that could shock India?
They certainly have the players to do that. Somebody like Keshav Maharaj is a quality spinner, one of the best spinners that is going around in Test cricket across the world. And if they can manage runs on the board,
Yeah.
I think they will certainly challenge India, and that's where Makram and Stubbs are going to be two players who will have to raise their hand, put up performances, because they have the skill set, and if they can put runs on the board, it is certainly going to be a challenge for India.
Let's go straight into that. Former batting coach that you are, only Temba Bavuma and Aiden Markram have actually played Test cricket in India, and I think Zubair Hamza has played one Test in India. They played some A cricket, some of them have played IPL cricket. What's the most important thing for a visiting batting unit to remember when you have to score runs in India?
Have to be very good with their game plans in terms of when to use which shots, because whenever you speak of spinners or spinning tracks, they've obviously coming off a good tour in Pakistan, but the surfaces in Pakistan are totally different at what you encounter in various parts of the country. So whether they go to the sweep shot, whether they are totally hanging on the back foot on low bounce pitches, is something that they will have to really select carefully in their game plan. So if you are able to do that, the kind of experience that they have of playing on surfaces, like not necessarily Test cricket, but the amount of cricket that Stubbs plays in India in IPL gives you a little bit of an understanding of what to expect on surfaces. So I would think that that kind of experience of playing on surfaces is going to help, and if they can pass on those inputs and make those game plans as per the needs of the surfaces, I think they can certainly put up a good show.
Vernon, jump in on that, add to that. Key batters for you?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm going to have to highlight Markram, of course. I think he's a massive player for South Africa, and especially understanding conditions. Stubbs, another one. I think, most of these players would have played with and obviously alongside, many of these Indian spinners. So I think the conversation would really be, led by those kind of guys in terms of, what to expect. I think for me, the dangerous bowler here is probably Kuldeep. Mystery spinners, in the subcontinent, they are always going to be a threat. So I think the conversations around, where my scoring opportunity lies, I think that's going to be of paramount importance. But I do feel, with the balance of this team and also the amount of experience, of guys having played in India, do put them in good stead, to go up against this Indian team or overcome, this Indian team.
Yeah, quick one on Tristan Stubbs though, Vernon. I wonder what role you see him playing in this team. I think he's been given opportunities to bat 3. Team sheet officially has Mulder at 3 and Stubbs middle order. Your take?
Yeah, I think Mulder will be batting at 3. I think, the coach, really enjoy him batting at 3 in terms of his technique. And I also think with the slightly newer ball, he's probably going to look to be a little bit more aggressive. But I do feel Stubbs, just looking at him, and the way he's gone about his game, yes, he's an attacking batter. But from time to time, perhaps has gone, a bit too attacking. So I'd love to see him, just knuckle down a little bit, bat some time. And I think, especially in the subcontinent, like I said earlier, the first innings is of paramount importance. So you're going to have to bet time. You're going to have to get it runs on the board because the third innings becomes a tricky one. So hopefully he can put his mind to it. He can really, put the grind in. But like I said, he's always going to be attacking in nature. But for me, it's just about shot selections, especially in the first innings.
All right. Let's just quickly wrap a few things up before we get to live action and the first session of play. 4 spinners is not necessarily an easy thing for a captain. It's a luxury on paper, but you don't often see it. The last time India, I believe, played 4 spinners was 2012 against England. That's a series we remember at Nagpur. Shubman Gill is a young captain and he has to now manage the use of 4 spinners in addition to 2 strike fast bowlers. What should he keep in mind?
I think one of them will end up playing as a batsman, and that's what will be the eventuality, because add to that, when India played 4 spinners, they had only 1 pacer, if I remember correctly, about the 2012 series. But here you have 2 quality pacers in Siraj and Jasprit Bumrah, who can make the ball talk, create wicket-taking opportunities with the new ball, with old ball. So in my book, I think if you look ahead, certainly there would be very few or very less usage of one of those 3 spinners in India.
Yeah, Vernon, jump in on that as well, how that perhaps makes the South African batters think in terms of what India have. They have 4 spin options. What do we need to do to try and put some pressure on them early?
Yeah, I think it can be a luxury, but it can also be a bit of a danger for for a captain, because sometimes as a spinner you need to get into a spell, and very often when you have so many options to choose from, if a spinner doesn't get into that spell, you look at obviously rotating him, and that could play right into the hands of South Africa. So I think South Africa will probably try and be a little bit more aggressive on day 1 and 2, because they obviously know what obviously late on in the test match the ball will turn a bit squarer. So I think it's about having that positive intent with bat in hand, and not allowing the Indian spinners to formulate some good plans, but more importantly not allow those guys to settle into spell. So I do feel they will be a little bit more attacking, and that's the nature of the batting coach Prince as well. To really impose yourself on the opposition on the opposition bowling. So yeah, I mean, having made the tactics clear in terms of picking 4 spinners, I do feel that South Africa will be a little bit more positive and assertive on those spinners.
I love it. Positive, assertive, intent, perhaps attacking, keeping all that in mind. Vernon, give me a ballpark sort of estimation of how you see this first session going. What would South Africa take? I mean, they take 150 without loss, but what do you sense will be the first
Yeah, I
session
think
here?
let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. I think South Africa, I mean, if they can get in that region of 80 to 90 for one, I think they take that at the start of the test match.
I'd like how Vernon sort of talking them up, and if that is the intent and attitude, it should be fun to watch. Would you advise caution and watchful start rather than try to be overly positive or aggressive sometimes?
I don't really think so, because here it's a ground wherein if you time the ball well, the outfield does the rest, and India certainly will have a number of players in the catching position. So it gives open spaces for the batters, and if they can just time the ball, that would be my advice to them rather than looking to go with a lot of intent and aggression.
80, 90 for one, that's something Vernon says South Africa will be happy with. What would India be happy with?
India would be happy with three wickets at least, because they will look to use spin quite early and hope that they make early inroads as well.
All right. Sanjay Bangar, thank you very much. And Vernon Philander, thank you very much. We will have India and South Africa Test cricket in India for the first time in 6 years. We look forward to the first session of play. We'll get Sanjay and Vernon's thoughts at lunch on day 1 after we've seen a session of play at the Eden Gardens. Make sure you catch live updates right on ESPNcricinfo, and we look forward to your company the next time we're live on Bajaj Finserv Mutual Funds presents ESPNcricinfo Matchday.